The Survivor Specialist, Phil and McKenna, are back, and it is week 8 of Survivor AU Brains vs. Brawn 2. We're doing episodes 21 and 22, the thrilling episodes. I will say
it was almost thrilling. Both of them were almost thrilling.
A 2-1-1 vote, 2-1-1-1 vote was pretty epic. But it's exactly what I said last week. It's like, man, so Kate and Morgan are going this week, and then they did. I want to start with this. I don't care. Like, I don't know if this is taboo. I don't care because I don't follow Survivor Australia enough, or Australian Survivor enough. Sorry. What in the world happened? Does anybody have a theory? Is there anything? Morgan got 7 confessionals. She goes home in 6th place. She doesn't get last words, and she quits the jury on night 43. There are 47 days on this season, and she quits there. I'm fascinated. I've never seen anything like this in my entire time of watching Survivor. Does anybody know? I mean, now Jairo D. Garcia says it here. How are they going to handle an 8-person jury with a final 2? Because it's a final 2. I mean, there's 2 episodes left. We're not going to get one boot in 2 episodes that are going to be probably an hour and a half long each. What happened? Do you have any idea?
I don't have an idea, but like, I think her quitting the jury led to the other 3 because the other stuff. So her not getting final words, they probably recorded final words, didn't air it. And they only gave her 7 confessionals because that's what they had to do. Same thing like Ben when he just quit and left. Morgan, yes, got voted out, but then quit the jury. So it's this, I think they were just saying, hey, we don't want to promote this. You do not get your 5 seconds of fame. Goodbye.
I feel like there has to be a reason she quit the jury. There's 3 days left. What could possibly be that she's just like, I don't want to vote? Like, it doesn't make sense to me.
Kate is just going to come tomorrow. Come on, Morgan.
No, I know. Shockingly, Kate is the next person voted out after Morgan. Yeah, nobody knows. Catherine Fenwick says there's a theory it had to do with Ben, but no one knows. And I'm not going to say
so far away.
Yeah, and I don't want to give credence to the Ben theory. And it's not against Catherine here. It's just I don't want to give credence to the Ben theory because that just to me feels like gossip. That just feels like gossip. And I don't want to just be gossiping about what could be happening. I want concrete answers. I mean, Ben left under weird circumstances. Now Morgan's leaving under weird circumstances. And Morgan seemed positive out there. I mean, she was having a good time. She was fighting to stay in the game. It didn't seem like anything was all that wrong. Now she's gone and unceremoniously. And I don't know. Like, it's very weird. And I just wanted to start there because like that's the elephant in the room on this season. Everybody's wondering what's going on with Morgan's edit. She was a preseason winner pick of mine. One, we each did 2 from each tribe. Yeah. I had Logan and Morgan. Morgan was my last standing one. I thought Morgan was going to have a chance here. She's an Olympic gold medalist or whatever. She's just an Olympian. Yeah. She didn't win a gold medal. She's not Crystal Cox. But she's an Olympian. Like, she's done all these things. She has a good personality and just nothing came out. And like, I looked up her Instagram because I was like, well, did she put out something like Ben did? And it's like, she's pregnant. I think she's like about to have another kid, like her first kid. Like, her life seems fine. So like, I don't understand what took place here. And I wish it did.
Found out she was pregnant. And then if Morgan found out she was pregnant and then left or something, I don't think they would be doing her dirty on this edit. So it couldn't have, I feel like it couldn't have been like, oh crap, I peed on a stick and it's positive.
Yeah. I mean, well, that's the thing. Also, I mean, I'm no expert here, but I don't think you can like starve yourself and put yourself through all of that for 43 days and have your baby be fine.
No, I know. Yeah, I get it. But
like, yeah, but no, I get what you're saying. It's a very weird circumstance. And it does take away. I mean, like, look, to me, that's the biggest talking point. We do get to see Miles and AJ go against each other. And we're going to dive into that. And we're going to do that, and we're going to talk about Zara's ultimate decision here to vote out Kate instead of voting out AJ. But that first episode, I was sitting there and I'm watching it and I'm like, what is going on? Like, what is happening? And then they do the second immunity challenge and Kate wins and Morgan's going to go. And when they just cut to the whatever, I was like, what the hell is this?
Yeah, I was like, I need I need AJ or Zara to win the immunity because then it doesn't disrupt plans that could happen. If anybody else wins immunity, then plans are getting blown up, and we don't have this potential blindside.
Mhm.
And what do we know? Kate wins, and Morgan just gets immediately booted. Now,
Yeah.
do I think they would have actually gone through with plans after seeing the next episode? No.
No. I think the postgraduates were set in stone. I wrote a note here that said, I literally stopped listening because we know Kate and Morgan are done. Like, I literally wrote that note. And this was a longer episode in terms of like the post immunity post first immunity challenge was pretty long. And I was just like, I know. And the thing was, and like, sorry if any of them listen, but like, I didn't really care about Kate or Morgan at this point. That's not them. That's the edit. Like, I didn't care. So I knew where this was going. It would have been shocking to see somebody else go here. And like, I don't know, like for me, episode 22 was very interesting. I really enjoyed episode 22. Episode 21 felt like, yo, give me the cliff notes. Like, give me I don't need all of it. Just give me the cliff notes. And it's almost like that's what Australian Survivor wanted to do. This to me is the reason why they went to 2 episodes a week. This is the reason why. Because something happened with Morgan, and we might never find out. I am creating my own mystery here, right? I'm creating a murder mystery in my head. I'm going to make a documentary one day. It's all going to be about this. But something took place, right? And they did not want this to be what ended a week. Because if you do 3 episodes every week, then that means episode number 21 with Morgan going home and not having her last words is the last thing people see at the end of that week. And I truly believe, I don't know what their schedule looked like, blah, 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 but I truly believe that they would have started either a week later or ended a week earlier and just done 3 episodes every week had this not been that it fell on episode 21. And they didn't have a choice because Australian Survivor doesn't have a choice. Like, where their people get booted, they really don't have a choice but to make the episodes work in that fashion because their schedule's too big.
Yeah, exactly. Now that you bring that up, I think that might be the reason why they, jumped to 2 episodes, because it's been like 8 weeks of Australian
And this
Survivor.
is 9. Yeah.
And this is 9. So it's interesting. Yeah, I agree with you that, episode 22 is definitely the most interesting, because when it all boiled to the fact of Zara had the control, I was like, what is she gonna do? Because the edit, at least to me, made me believe that I was shocked that she actually went with Kate. I know she wanted Kate out, but I thought Miles had gotten to her a little bit to go for AJ. But I just felt so dissatisfied when she went for Kate, because I feel like that she thinks that's her greatest opposition, and it really isn't. That's her best shot. Well, maybe not her best shot, but like that's one of her only shots at winning.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Zara's in an interesting position here. So let's set the stage first. Kaelin wins his 6th individual immunity, which is the record for Australian Survivor, which is crazy. There's a lot more individual challenges on Australian than US. Obviously, that's more than anybody won on US, but like Ozzy won 5 out of 6 immunities. So his winning percentage isn't as high as Ozzy's, but still, he wins 6. Very impressive. There's no denying it. So that's what really sets the stage for this next episode, right? Like, you finally get Kaelin to lose. And so now Kate is in a position where this is really what's going on. Kate is going to vote Kaelin. Miles is going to vote AJ. AJ is going to vote Kate. And Kaelin is going to vote Miles. So Zara gets to pick. And she ultimately picks to boot Kate, which I agree with you. Sounds like she could beat Kate, so why are you doing this? I don't know about that.
I don't think I think that's her best. I think Zara is also drawing dead in the water here, but I feel like Kate would be her only shot.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you don't think that people would vote for her to win over Miles or AJ at this point, just from like a we like you more standpoint?
No, because so many people dislike Zara too. Laura dislikes Zara, Logan dislikes Zara, and Laura's been there for a hot minute telling people I hate Zara.
So let me ask you it this way then. Was it a smart move for Zara to try to thwart somebody else's big move, though? Because really, Miles would have gotten the credit if AJ goes home here. She wouldn't have. So does it make sense for her to not allow that move to be made and now go back and say, okay, really, you would think, well, the three men are going to vote Zara out. They've been working close together the entire time. That seems like the obvious choice. But now AJ's sitting there going, why'd you vote for me? That doesn't make sense. And it's not clicking in his head that, like, no, Miles literally is trying to vote him out of the game.
I don't think AJ's the right answer either. I think it's either Miles or Kaelin.
Okay.
Are the right answer, where Zara can fully claim that I voted for Kaelin and sent him home. I voted for Miles and sent him home. I knew where everyone was voting. I think Miles could out-talk her in this case of like, I came up with the plan and brought it to Zara, where then Zara's backtracking saying, well, I knew where everyone's voting and chose to go that way. That doesn't really have the same ring to it as I knew where everyone was voting. I knew AJ was voting for Kate. I knew Miles was voting for Kaelin, and for AJ. And it just clicks better at the final tribal council, where she can still make that big move and thwart someone else's big move.
So, yeah, what is, I know we're only 11 minutes in and we're already talking about like next week, but what is Zara's plan by voting out Kate here? What do you think is going through her head of, this move made the most sense to set me up to win? I'm at Final Four. I'm with the greatest challenge performer in Australian Survivor history. I'm with Miles, who has played the most immunity idols, and 3 of them successfully in Australian Survivor history. And I'm with AJ, who has played a great strategic game. Or I'm with Kate, who one hell of an exit. Okay. She got low. But like, what else? Like, what is her move? What do you think?
Yeah, I think the move is to go with Kate, but then I guess now she can't. And the move is, I think she's going to want to go and stick to Miles, because Miles, I feel like, doesn't have as many friends as AJ does. And she can just make amends with Miles. Or she goes for Kaelin and says Kaelin had no strategy the entire game. I don't think she's going to side with AJ at all. It just depends on if everyone gangs up for Miles now because he tried to gun for AJ and Kaelin. So I maybe Miles is next and Zara's at 3. And
AJ keeps saying he wants to sit next to Kaelin at the end because that's how he wins.
So
he feels
dumb.
like that's his best chance, and I feel like that's what's going to happen.
Dumb.
But I think that might be what happens. I think
AJ would still win, but it's not going to be as close of a margin as it would. I think, or as it's not going to be
wide. I get what you mean.
As big of a margin. I think Kaelin has the nice boy votes. So if people are looking to give nice people a vote, I think Kaelin has that. And especially if he explains his strategy of, I was doing this, that, and the other thing to move forward. Kristen clocked it. That's why now Kristen is on the jury. And if he can explain himself, I think he could have a decent shot. Do I think he wins over AJ? No. Yeah. But I think Kaelin has more of a case than Zara.
For sure. And Ren Davis says it here. I think Zara's plan is to lose to Miles. Gabe says Zara honestly thinks she can beat Miles, and that's false. And I agree with both of those statements. I think that she thinks her best chance is to beat Miles. She doesn't think Miles has the social game. And we see AJ say it in this episode, or one of these 2 episodes. He says, Miles is playing a smaller version of my game. I'm playing the big version of my game. He's playing the smaller version, so I can beat him. And maybe that's what Zara is hearing. And she's saying, well, if I sit next to him, he didn't play as well as AJ. Kaelin won all the immunities. So whatever. And maybe that's, what she's thinking. But I truly believe that if Zara sits next to Kate at the end, you're probably looking at like a 1 vote difference either way. With Morgan off the jury, though, Zara might beat Kate. honestly. Like,
Mhm.
if I guess that's a fascinating topic here. If
Okay.
you walk in and your mind is made up to vote out Kate, but you see Morgan isn't on the jury, and you know she's not voting for a winner, which was a guaranteed vote for Kate, do you have second thoughts and say maybe I should keep Kate?
That's
Because
for
that's one less vote.
That's a smart idea too, because then instead sh because I think I wonder where AJ would vote in this situation of Kate versus Zara, because maybe you give Kate the vote of like, okay, she has AJ, then she has Kristen. She has to have all of her bronze. I highly doubt that,
The
like,
problem is
Pauly.
there's only one other person from her original Brawn. It's only with Morgan out, it would only be Kristen and Pauly. Those are the only two
Mhm.
Brawn on the jury, which is crazy.
Kristen, Pauly, AJ, I could see voting for Kate. But
Mm-hmm.
then do we go, like, girls? So Laura votes for Kate, that's 4 votes. Logan votes for Kate, that's 5 votes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then she
Zara
won.
versus Kate, Kate wins.
Yeah. So maybe getting rid of Kate still made the most sense. Maybe that still made the most sense then.
I just didn't want it to happen.
I mean, I agree with you. Look, here's my
Yeah.
thing. I don't know who's going to win this season still, right? Between AJ and Miles, I haven't made up my mind. I think it's going to be AJ.
Mhm.
I think it's going to be AJ. But between the two of them, I haven't fully decided which one I think ultimately pulls out this victory. So that's still compelling going into the last week. How often can you say that, right? Like
Yeah.
Haley and George had that feel a little bit, even
Mhm.
though I'd kind of clocked that it was going to be Haley. Because George just like the
You also
jury
knew
didn't really like it.
George didn't win
I
going
did.
in,
Yeah, that's true because people didn't talk about him as a great winner, and I feel like they would have had he
but
won.
you just
So
didn't know where he placed, so you didn't know that he, like, really lost to Haley, like, at
yeah,
5.
I didn't know. Yeah, and so like there's like I haven't watched Blood versus Water yet, which people are talking about as the worst. I will say I watched the first 3 episodes of it today, and I was like, shoulder shrug. But we'll see how that goes. Yeah, that one we'll see. I haven't seen Heroes Villains, and I haven't seen Titans versus Rebels. I think I know who wins Titans versus Rebels, so nobody say, but I think I know. All of that being said, there was a point here that I've totally lost. It's very, very rarely are you going into a Final Four where there are two people who feel like they have a very equal chance of winning, right? And I
Yeah.
feel like this has been the story of AJ and Miles. It's been the
Mhm.
story of both. I
Mhm.
do feel that in these 2 episodes, it started to become the story of AJ, though. We started to hear a lot more from AJ's point of view of what he needs to do to win rather than what Miles needs to do to win.
That confessional of I'm playing a bigger game of what Miles is playing in
Yeah.
Miles's game. I think that definitely adds to AJ's, like, resume of maybe he wins this thing. I just hope I hold out hope for a Kaelin win because I am force-fed AJ and Miles.
Mhm.
Because if that's the popular thing, I want the not popular
Yeah.
thing, which
Not
is
even
Kaelin.
popular, right? Obvious feels
Or
like,
yeah, yeah.
right? The
So, like,
obvious thing.
I'm pulling to see how if he could weasel his way into it, but it definitely is like if Kaelin wins, they did him dirty.
They did. Absolutely. Because here's your man who wins 6 individual immunities. He is and Australian Survivor really does respect the physical game, I feel, more than
Yeah.
US Survivor does. Right? I feel like Australian Survivor, JLP is always talking about, the beefcakes and all of that stuff.
Mhm.
Like Jeff doesn't care about that as much anymore. Back in the day, Colby, Terry, whatever. But
Yeah.
nowadays, it's kind of a shoulder shrug if somebody wins 5 immunities. But so for me, if he sets your record and he was on the Brain Tribe, I think that's what I'm so confused about when it comes
He's a
to Kaelin.
PhD student.
But still, he's on the Brains Tribe. Yes, he looks like a meathead, but why are they allowing him to play dumb? He's on the Brains Tribe for a reason. They're like the producers didn't just say, hey, go throw him on the Brain Tribe. Like he should have been on the Brawn Tribe to begin with. And so it's really funny that he's trying to play dumb. His whole strategy was to play dumb, but they put him on the Brain Tribe. Like Fabio wasn't getting put on the Brain Tribe, no matter what season he played.
Yeah.
So I don't think Kaelin has a shot. I feel like he's too likable. Like there's nothing unlikable about Kaelin, and there's plenty unlikable, and I mean this respectfully, about AJ and Miles. AJ and Miles are grating in some of their scenes. Like they are pompous. They think they know everything. They're over strategizing. They can't just keep it simple ever. And they overplay and they make mistakes. They're so entertaining. I'd hang out with either of them. But at the end of the day, you look at somebody like Kaelin, that's who the audience could easily attach to and just say, I love this guy. Great. And if he was going to win, how hard would it be to edit Kaelin as a winner?
Why couldn't we also get him as like, robbed or something like that? Like where the guy who steals America's heart, well, Australia's heart.
Yeah.
Goes on and loses at final 2 or final 3 or 4, where he's like the fallen angel.
I think it's because he's not. I think he's going to lose Final Tribal Council, and so they're trying to show us like some of the mistakes he made because he's going to lose at Final Tribal. I mean, think about this. The only way he gets to Final Tribal is if he's sitting next to AJ. And if he's sitting next to AJ, how would those votes go? I think more people would respect AJ's gameplay than just be like, I like Kaelin. I think that would be a 5-3 vote.
I do agree that AJ still has the votes on lock.
Yeah.
If he's sitting next to Kaelin. It's just if some people are butthurt, they would go to Kaelin. Yeah. Where like if he sits next to Miles, it's game versus game. Yeah. And there's no way to totally be butthurt.
I think AJ beats Miles too, though.
Yes, I agree.
I think AJ beats Miles. I think AJ wins no matter who he sits next to at this point. And he's been saying that for a while. We've been getting that in confessionals where he's saying, I don't think I can lose at this point. I think he's right. I think if he sits next to Miles, he's going to be able to make a pitch that's better. And I think that he really connected with this jury more, even the ones who might not necessarily like him.
Once he hit the merge, he had connections with everyone. I feel like at one point he was like, I have a connection with everyone on this beach, so I kind of have to lay a little bit low and make other people do moves.
Yeah. And I mean, he still tried to make every move. I mean, I just thought it was funny. At final 6, the Survivor gods essentially told Zara, like, sorry, we don't really care about you. When they said, hey, AJ finally going to give. But of course, AJ's trying to change it at the last second. And so what happens? Well, Kate wins immunity at Tribal Council in a twist, and AJ gets his way like always.
Yeah.
He's just gotten his way every single time. And when he hasn't gotten his way, he's immediately gotten his way right after.
Yeah. I mean, he's just playing such a good game. It really is like a masterclass game of he's come from the bottom to the middle, top a little bit, middle, like he's bounced all the way around and is able to recover. And I think that's amazing. He's also made so many inroads with new people at the merge. And yes, it's brain and graduate strong or post-grad, sorry, Karin, at the Final 4. But at the same time, he did make all of these relationships with Paulie, with Kristen. Well, Paulie fell off. Kristen, Morgan, Kate. Like he was making all of these connections with the Brawn, and they were biting.
Yeah, and so really, like when you look at it, the jury is not Brawn heavy. Like the Brawn went home early, and the fact that Morgan quit, it's just Paulie and Kate. That's crazy. And Kristen. So there's 3. And who has the best relation? I mean, the only thing that might have been set up in this edit is if Kaelin sits next to AJ, Kaelin might get 1 vote, and that 1 vote would come from Kristen. Because we did hear
that scene.
Yeah, we had a couple scenes about the 2 of them being like, what would your pitch be? And then we had another one later on that was like, oh, we could be the duo.
If it's AJ versus Miles, though, I think Miles gets Paulie's vote for sure. Because of the idol save.
Yeah. But that might be it. What if Miles sits next to Kaelin? Before we get to that, let's ask
Okay.
this. What if Miles sits next to Kaelin? I clicked it on accident.
Miles sits next to Kaelin. All right. So I think Miles has Polly. I
Mhm.
think Miles might Miles has Karin.
Why are you so confident Miles has Karin?
Because I feel like Miles was more strategic, and Karin likes a more strategic game
Mhm.
versus like a likability situation.
Let's see. So we have I'm just looking to see like what the votes shook out like here. Um Karin, when she gets voted out, Kaelin and Miles both vote for her.
Mhm.
Um yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I
I
mean,
don't know where Lore
yeah, this is really it. Gabe
and
Ruiz says it's
yeah.
Kaelin's likability versus Miles' story.
Yeah.
Um Yeah, and multiple people have said that this is how it kind of works. Diana Bean here saying that this is like it goes to 2 towards
It
the end. So
it does, but I just feel like at the point where it did,
yeah,
I
it felt
think you have
purposeful more than yeah.
yeah.
Um okay. So there is the question here that Hyro DRC keeps asking. What happens if it's a final? What happens if it's tiebreaker at final 2? I don't know.
I
I'm
think they
assuming
would
third
revote.
place. I think third place just their vote decides it.
Interesting.
I think third place decides it because I think that's how it would work if it was a final 3. I think maybe they'd revote, but if it's still a tie, I think third place decides it.
Mhm. Cuz I believe I've heard with when it's a tie for second and third place, they vote for who technically gets second. Like
Really?
in US Survivor. Like I think they voted between Cassandra and Dreams.
Really?
Yes.
I've never heard that.
I feel like I have. And
Either that
wanna
or McKenna's just throwing out gibberish here. That's not
I
real.
wanna say I wanna blame John.
Well, don't take anything John says seriously.
But yeah, I think I'm not 100% positive on it, but I think they like revote for second and third. So would
Interesting.
they revote at the final tribal council with a tie for final 2, and then if nobody changes, then
I have
final
to assume third place gets to pick it because
Yeah.
everybody else is already home. PD's not there, so PD's gone.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, fire making
yeah,
tiebreaker.
there you go. We all just watched them make fire to determine who wins $1 million. That would or $500,000. That would be insane. That would be absolutely insane. Yeah, I don't know what they would do. Honestly, I don't think we're getting one. I don't think they have to worry about it.
Yeah,
I don't think it's
either.
gonna be like that. Like people are trying to say, well, maybe with Miles and AJ,
No,
if they sit next to
I
each other.
think
No, I think
people
AJ
will
beats him
definitely
pretty bad.
Yeah, I think people are definitely decided.
Yeah. And I think that Miles has a great story, and I think Miles will be the one who absolutely gets asked back to play again. And like he has the King George upside, right? Like he has that man,
Mhm.
like he's so entertaining, he's going to deliver every time. AJ will deliver too, but I feel like Miles is the star at this point. He's all over the place. He's finding the idols. He's the one who's messy. I think that he will get asked back, but I think this is AJ's season to lose at this point.
Yeah, I mean, we see Haley come back, so
Yeah.
AJ could definitely come back, but I don't think he lasts long enough, but he does have some charm about him
Yeah.
that just will get people to keep voting with him.
Yeah. 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 We'll see what ends up happening there. I'm looking to see. I mean, there's really like nothing else. Like these episodes were literally challenges, tribal council
So
challenges.
one of the challenges was when they had to get the ball and push it up the platform. We basically had that already in the pre-merge.
I like that challenge though. Did you not like it?
I didn't not like it, but it just felt like we've done this already when they had to push the balls up into the holes in the pre-merge. So like if you did that portion in the pre-merge, you kind of already know what's
Was
going
it
on.
was
Or
it
was
with
it was squares. It was squares, I
I was
think.
gonna say, like, was it with like the same type of stick and everything? Like, I thought what was cool about that challenge, you had different obstacles that you had to hit, right? There
Mhm.
was a gap, and then there was a part that was
Yeah.
missing part of the pole, and then there was the hump. Like, I thought it was a pretty fun, that was a pretty fun challenge, and it felt like one that anybody could win, which really like
That's true.
anybody could have. And I think sometimes, you know, that works when Survivor has challenges that anybody can win. But
Though it did seem like it hurt the short people could not win it. Because you had to push the stick as it went higher. Like, I
that's
think
true.
Zara was struggling a little bit.
I mean, yeah, it was Zara really in it. I feel like Kaelin and Miles had a big advantage by the time
Oh,
Zara even
yeah.
got there. So I don't think it
Yeah.
really
I
mattered.
mean, definitely
What
Kaylin.
was the square one? I'm trying to remember pushing the squares.
It was mainly Jesse and PD, and then I forget who on Brain did it. I think Rich and Kaylin.
Oh, I know exactly what you're talking about. Yes, I know that was like the sweeper one. That was
Yeah.
and Rich looked like he was gonna win it, and then Rich blew it at the end.
Right. It was
Yeah.
like they used poles. So it was similar in like mechanics. So I've just never seen them really like, oh, I feel like I've seen this before in the seasons that I've watched.
That's
Like
a good
it's
point.
never repeated like that.
I mean, I guess they repeat so many puzzles that like even though they're not puzzles that are being repeated, if you have like if you know how to make a standing up puzzle, like by the time you get to then you'll be able to
Mhm.
do it. So I guess it's just like a different iteration. I thought it was unique. I thought it was good. Gregory watching and give me some shit. Listen to Phil praising a challenge. Oh, how far we've come. I like the challenges on Australian Survivor.
Yeah.
I actually love the
Check out
challenges
the
on Australian Survivor.
Patreon. We talk all about those challenges too.
I
And
know.
how we
Like
love
I've been
them.
that's like one of the main things McKenna and I have talked about throughout our Brains vs. Brawn 1 rewatch. Is just like the challenges are really fun. Like the challenges
Mhm.
are big, they're epic in scale. There's a lot going on. Australian Survivor makes it so that you watch all of the phases of their show, which US Survivor doesn't always do. It doesn't
Mhm.
always do that. I mean, US Survivor has phenomenal moments, but some of the challenges are just so repetitive that you're like, just get to the puzzle part. I don't need to watch that. The next 5 minutes, I'm going to try to come up with a clever tweet.
I
Which
think
person should I put a picture of that people stand so I get a bunch of retweets?
I think on like maybe only a handful of episodes for the challenge, I've written obstacle course to puzzle.
Yeah.
Like between both seasons,
Mhm.
where my notes for US Survivor are
What
like
it is.
basic obstacle course into puzzle.
Yeah. Yep. Um, yeah. So there you go, Gregory. Here, this is a great segue. Thank you, Gregory. If you've made it this far in and you like that I'm praising challenges, please like the video. Like the video, like the video, like the video. It really helps us get our numbers up. And our numbers on our last video weren't great compared to what we've been doing all season. So help us get our numbers up as the season comes to an end so that we keep doing Australian Survivor and we don't just end it at AU versus the world, you know? So
Mhm.
like this video, like this video, like this video, like this video. It goes a long way. I know you have to have an account to like the video, which kind of sucks because it should just be like, I should be able to be a stranger just liking this video. But anyway, do that. All right. What else we got? Jairo D. Garcia. What happens if Miles wins immunity next week? Are we getting our first all male final three? I guess that would be the first all male. He's been, look, Jairo D. Garcia has been asking me this question literally every
Every
single
week.
minute of every single day since this season started. He's been calling this Nicaragua final three.
Yeah.
So do you think that we're going to get our first all male final three? Will Jairo D. Garcia's dream come true or no?
I think it all depends on what Zara wants to do. If Zara just goes along with I don't know. I feel like Zara would be great to take to the 3. I think you have to boot either one of AJ or Miles here. I don't know if the guys will just all team up. I feel like that would be I feel like now a lot of heat is on Miles, so they might want to get out Miles here. But maybe if Zara ties it, then it's not
But what if
Miles.
Miles wins immunity? That's what he's asking.
Oh,
Miles wins
Miles
immunity.
wins immunity. Yeah, I'd say it has to be unless Miles forces a tiebreaker.
I think if Miles wins immunity, I think Kaelin goes home. I think Zara, her plan is to go to final three with Miles and AJ and essentially either win immunity and get to the end with one of them or allow one of them to pick her. I think
Yeah.
she truly thinks she can beat them. I don't think she
But
can.
do
I
you
don't think she
think
thinks she can win.
Miles? Do you think AJ will vote Kaelin out?
Yes. If it comes down to your option at this point is Miles
Why
is
not just let
safe.
him make fire against Zara?
That's true. And then Zara loses. Yeah, we might. I mean, maybe we are walking into this final three. All
But
male.
I think it unless they pose it, you have to come with us to vote Kaelin or we vote for you.
Mm-hmm.
That could be the only way that Miles is like, all right,
Could
or
we see
AJ
a
is like,
Zara versus Kaelin? Would it be a Zara versus Kaelin or be AJ versus Zara? I guess what I'm having a hard time seeing is Kaelin and AJ vote for Zara.
right.
And then I guess Miles and Zara would vote for AJ.
Or Kaelin, one of the two.
Who do you think they'd be more likely to vote for?
I guess now AJ.
Yeah, because they already burned the bridge with AJ, right? Like AJ's gonna go roast Miles now.
Miles votes AJ, Zara votes Kaelin, and those two vote out Zara.
Yeah. Which could happen. I mean, if you're Miles, does it benefit you to allow anybody you could potentially sit in final two with, make fire, and get that moment that you don't get?
Yeah. I feel like fire doesn't get, like, does fire and AU give them bonus points?
I haven't seen the last 3 seasons yet, so I don't know. I don't know if there is fire in any of those seasons, but through the first 5 seasons, no, it doesn't matter. I don't think there even been fire.
I don't think so.
There's been one, and it was like it wasn't at Final Four though. It was like early on.
Yeah, so like I feel like fire doesn't even mean anything. Especially if they're also watching American Survivor too, where we've seen every winner now come from fire making. It's not a total, notch in the belt.
Never, ever do a disservice to Tommy Sheehan on this podcast again, McKenna. Never again. He didn't come from fire. He was taken.
No. We've seen every version of.
Oh, I get what you're saying. I thought you were more saying like
we've seen a fire maker win. We've we've seen all versions of this, and I would never do a disservice to Tommy Sheehan.
Yeah, it says Ryder 2800 says no spoilers for last season. Last year there was fire at Final Four, and the person didn't win.
Seriously, I watched that and couldn't remember.
Yeah, so there you go, McKenna. What's up? I mean, Australian Survivor 2017 did have fire at Final Four. Who made the fire in 2017? Did Jericho make the fire?
I don't know.
Tara made the fire in final set in 2017, I think, didn't she?
So then it wouldn't have been against Jericho. Luke?
No, Luke, it was Michelle. Far. Jericho and Michelle, yeah, because Luke went out before that. Jericho and Michelle. See, that's how much it resonates. That's how, again, I'm voting for fire to happen in the US, but like, again, I am binging these seasons so hard. So hard. Like, I am watching 3 episodes a week of every season, and now I've been watching 3 episodes a week plus Brains vs. Brawn 2.
Yeah.
I'm binging these so hard that for me, it's like, it's going in one ear and out the other. When this whole binge is over, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to do like I'll have to figure out something else Australian Survivor I can do for the patrons, but I'm going to do like a deep breath.
You have to do your top 100.
Oh God, I can't. I literally can't. Like there are people like that I can't name. I remember like I just can't. Like it's
top 50.
I don't know if I could. I don't know if I could. I mean, I can
25.
Luke, David, the winners.
Top 3.
Top 3, exactly. George, Haley, like, yeah, it's tough. I mean, it's tough when you're binging as hard as I am, but I'm also like, as I'm binging these seasons, I'm not looking things up because I don't want to be spoiled on boot orders and things like that. So because of that, I am sitting and I'm watching and I'm like really relying on my memory and my notes. And then when the season's over, I'll go look at the Wikipedia page. But that's the first time I'm looking at it. By that point, I'm like, wait, who was that again? Who was this? And then I go right into the next season. So I'll have to do like an exhale, you know, Australian Survivor. Let's talk about just 2016 one more time now that I watched it 2 years ago. But yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, what else happened in these 2 episodes? I mean, it's crazy. It's only 2 episodes at this point, and again, like I feel like with US Survivor, we're doing 1 episode. We can sit here, we can talk for an hour, but with 2 episodes, it's just been the show
Well,
of
because it's
AJ and Miles.
yeah, it's been the show of AJ and Miles, and then the boots weren't interesting enough to be like, whoa, let's talk about how this plan happened, because we get Morgan go home and we expected Morgan to go home. Granted, she went home because of one challenge at tribal council where it would have been Kate, which again is not a surprising boot. Then we go into Kate's boot and it's just because Zara picked Kate.
Yeah.
Which
Which was fascinating to watch. I will say too, the jury was very mad that it was Kate. The jury was, I think that was an authentic reaction from the jury of all them like leaning forward, like, oh shit, we have a 1-1-1 who's gonna go home. And then when it was Kate, they were so disappointed. They wanted they did so badly.
Yeah, because Kate was the easy move. I mean, granted, sometimes the easy move is the right move for you in the game, but it's not great for us as viewers or the jury. Like, it might be the correct move to get you into that winning position, but we want to see something flashy.
Yeah. Yeah. So, all right. Do your 4, 3, 2, 1. What's the boot order of the finale?
Miles, Zara, Kaelin, AJ. Miles booting at 4.
I'm going to say Zara, Miles, Kaelin, AJ. I think Kaelin's going to go to final 2 against AJ, and I think AJ is going to beat Kaelin. I think that's what's going to happen.
Though I would like to see any of the boys go against any of the boys. I feel like it would be interesting final tribal council any way you roll it. I think Zara just gets steamrolled, unfortunately. Yeah. So I don't want to see her in the final tribal council because, you know, they're just going to blow her out of the water. But I think it would be an interesting episode if any of the 3 boys were sitting next to each other.
I think Miles and AJ is the most interesting final 2, but I don't think we're going to get it. That's what I'm rooting for. I would love a Miles and AJ final 2 at this point. Give me the Dom versus Wendell. Like, give me that story. I'm all in on that. Because honestly, at this point, there is no Wendell in that Dom versus Wendell. They're both Doms. They both played very similar aggressive games. So give me that.
Yeah. And I think the next interesting is Kaelin versus Miles, because Miles didn't have much of a social game, but Kaelin didn't back up his social game with a strategic game. So that would be interesting to see where people value. And then I think Kaelin versus AJ is my least desired, but the most likely outcome.
And then Catherine Fenwick asked, did you watch Jerryville yet? I have not. Have you watched any of them?
Nope.
So I didn't. I saw that Morgan didn't get one, though. I'm so fascinated. We started this podcast talking about Morgan and ended talking about Morgan. I want to know what happened. I really do. And like, maybe that'll be one of those things. Maybe it'll hit the Australian media. Who knows? I want that answer.
Maybe there might be some more press about it later. Because Ben's take like a little bit to pop out? Like, maybe we can do a Google
I don't know if Ben ever got press, though. I feel like Ben just
didn't. He got an article.
Did he?
Oh, well, there was an article about his thing on Instagram.
Yeah, he didn't actually get exit press. And I know that there were other podcasts who have gotten exit press in the past that didn't get them this season. And I think it probably has to do with the fact that whatever happened with Morgan and Ben, and I don't want to assume it's something between the 2 of them. I'm just saying whatever happened with those 2 players, they don't want that being discussed.
Yeah, maybe.
And Gregory Washington asked this last question here. Is there a non-elimination because it's an even jury? So we have a final 3 instead of final 2. Do you think that Australian Survivor would adjust that at this point and just make it a non-elimination, kind of like what Korong did?
I mean, maybe. I hope not. I hope I don't have to sit through like 1. I hope I get a boot at 4, a non-eliminate, and then a non-elimination into Final Tribal Council.
Mhm.
I don't want to be someone not eliminated in the first episode, but
Yeah. Irody Garcia says the schedule for Survivor Australia versus the World will be released on June 22nd, 2025. Keep on note. I will.
Thank
And
you.
then Gary Rose says Australia versus the World already completely spoiled. Well, don't tell us. Please don't tell us. If you post that here, ban. No spoiler zone. It is a no spoiler zone. Please do not spoil anything. Although I will be honest, I think I saw probably the spoiler that a lot of people are pretending is a spoiler. I think it's fan fiction, to be totally frank. Maybe it could be, but I think there was some fan fiction going around early on. But we'll see. Look, I don't remember 95% of the people who are even on the season. I remember being like, Cherie's not on. And everybody's like, yes, she is. I'm like, oh.
Yes, she is.
King George is on. I had no idea.
Yep.
I forgot. Like the only one I remember is
you
that
didn't know King George probably when
I knew who King George was because I was at Johnny Fairplay's house and Johnny Fairplay literally put on King George highlights for us to watch before we podcasted.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So anyway, all right. Let's get to it for this episode. Everybody, thank you so much for listening. Like this video, subscribe to the channel. It really helps us if you like the video. I know I try not to talk about it too much, but it really does help us. It goes a long way and helps us build and helps people learn that we're doing Survivor Australia coverage. I'll be back on Wednesday night with Will. We'll be recapping episode number 7, I think, of Survivor 48. If you haven't checked out my predictions power rankings with Gabe Ortiz, it was amazing. 2 hours and something minutes. So much fun. Go check that one out. That was great. And then on Thursday, I'll be doing Digging Deeper. And then McKenna will be doing Amazing Race. On Friday, McKenna will be doing Survivor Rewind. And then next Sunday, I'll have Ron Clark right before the Ron Clark event. So we got a lot going on. And then McKenna and I are trying to figure out exactly when we're going to be doing our finale recap. It might be next Tuesday at our 1 o'clock scheduled time. I have to figure out what I'm doing. I'm traveling like crazy from Thursday to Thursday here. So that's what I got. Thank you all so much for listening. Hope you enjoyed this episode. Let us know who you think is going to win in the comments, and we'll see you next time.